Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today, as this is a Monday episode where we focus on a special topic in the world of astrology. And today we're going to be looking at the energies of transiting Mars throughout 2022, because this Mars has had a very interesting journey throughout the year and will continue to have more important decisions to make as Mars will station retrograde in Gemini, where he will actually hang out in Gemini from August 20th, 2022 until March 25th, 2023. So we're going to be talking about this energy of transiting Mars, particularly what this energy is emphasizing in your own natal astrology chart, because there are a few important themes that we've been working with since 2020 around this particular energy. So we will talk about that. And the other thing to note here that I believe is quite significant is that Mars in Gemini is also connected to the natal placement of Mars in the USA return chart, the Pluto return chart that we've been talking about for a while now. So we're undergoing the USA's Pluto return, which is happening at 27 degrees 32 minutes of Capricorn retrograde, and we're experiencing a Mars return in the same chart, as Mars is located at 21 degrees of Gemini, 22 minutes, which is also where this retrograde territory will cover. So we have some important themes emerging during this time, and we will discuss it and look at it, as well as apply it to your own world and perhaps what you've been undergoing as well in the Mars areas of your chart, as well as the Mars themes in your life. In astrology, the planet Mars is connected to certain themes, as is the case for every planet. And Mars is about action, leadership, courage, how we assert ourselves. It's connected to your physical body, how you move energy through your body, how you go for what you want. Mars assists us in developing more courage and confidence to be ourselves. Mars is a planet that wants us to feel strong and clear in who we are. Of course, the energy of Mars shifts as it represents itself differently in each astrological sign, but Mars is connected to not only our own drive, motivation, and how we take action, it's also connected to the energies of masculine themes and how we embody those themes in our world, in our lives. And at a more personal level, your natal Mars connects to your own masculine energy. And I mean this in terms of the energies that we exemplify, as well as what we're drawn to in these masculine energies in our lives. And this can also relate to the types of masculine energies you're drawn to, or the kinds of masculine energies that you naturally express. This is not about gender or sex. Rather, these are about the masculine qualities that Mars is here to strengthen in us, to feel good about who we are, and to be able to take action that's healthy, that's in alignment, that's true for you, and is connected to your own ability to assert yourself. Mars likes to go after something. This is the Mars that wants to take action. So your natal Mars will show you how you take action, what is comfortable or natural for you, how you also prefer to move your body, as well as your body's physical energy, what your body consciousness needs, what you're looking to do or express through your physical vessel, as well as how you care for it, meaning how you take care of yourself on a daily basis, the amount of physical rest you need, or the amount of physical action or energy you prefer to exude and develop. Mars is also about our desires, our passion, our sexuality, what we're attracted to, what is primal within us, what inspires us to take action and move forward. So essentially, this Mars wants to get things done. It prefers to move along, take charge, have courage, and show up. But again, that tends to shift as Mars journeys through different astrological signs. So understanding the basics of Mars can help paint a picture for yourself in your own world of what this transiting Mars is moving through in your life throughout 2022, because Mars has had a very big journey over the course of this calendar year. In January, Mars began the year in Sagittarius, where he was conjunct the galactic center at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. And this would have been a significant download and understanding of the bigger picture, a connection to more cosmic energies, and then how that is integrated into your body, how that is felt, how you receive that. Also, how it lifts you up and gives you a new sense of possibility and hope, which is something that Sagittarius thrives on. Sagittarius opens us up to a new adventure or a new journey. So that's where Mars began in January. Then Mars traveled forward and had big developments as he was then conjunct Pluto in Capricorn, followed by an exact conjunction with Venus, and then also conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. Then as Mars continued forward, Mars was also conjunct Neptune in Pisces, as well as Jupiter in Pisces. And then later on in 2022, Mars will be conjunct Uranus in Taurus. So essentially, the picture I want to paint here for you is that Mars has been conjunct every outer planet this year. Mars has been directly influenced and has been going through a deep reprogramming through these conjunctions to the outer planets, because the outer planets always have a more powerful influence on the personal planets. The outer planets have a higher consciousness, they hold more energy, they have more influence on what that personal planet is experiencing. So when we have Mars undergoing these exact conjunctions to all personal planets, especially in one single year, that is significant for how that Mars energy is shifting and changing its expression, as well as expanding its consciousness. Now, Mars will also be making conjunctions to Jupiter and Chiron, both in Aries, and will also be crossing over that North Node in Taurus. So this Mars is receiving very important energy in 2022, and it leads to the upcoming retrograde in Gemini as well. So I feel like what we're experiencing here in the Mars areas and energies in our lives is we're going deeper into more of the questions around how we're really showing up for ourselves, how we're taking care of our physical energies. What does it mean to be courageous and to live your purpose, to live your mission? What does it mean to embody more of your light, more of these higher frequencies, more of these bigger downloads that are designed to support us now, especially as we're moving through a very big chapter on the planet? So this Mars is where we're directly feeling these influences even more, especially in our physical bodies. And also I feel like this Mars is undergoing removals. So part of the reprogramming that has been encountered through these conjunctions to each outer planet is bringing up bigger questions around, do I need this still? Is this necessary? Is this who I am? Is this the truth of my energy? And there could be things that you're noticing in your own world that you no longer have motivation for. You're not inspired by it. You're not drawn to it. Maybe you're not feeling even that powerful response or desire to do something about it. This is your body consciousness speaking to you. This is that Mars energy showing you what has shifted and changed, as well as wanting to bring your attention to how you can better manage your own physical energy on a regular basis. So this is where you could notice you're developing new habits or new desires to work out or move your body or do something different. This could also be where you're experiencing more rest, more downtime, where you're exhausted or worn out, where something is no longer working for you and it's like the gears are shutting down or things are turning off because it's no longer connected to your body consciousness. It's no longer connected to what really motivates you or inspires you. So I think it's quite interesting that when we look at the beginning of 2022, in January 2022, until August 2022, Mars makes exact conjunctions to these outer planets that I mentioned, as well as to the North Node. Then when he enters Gemini, he's not in the orbit or realms of any other outer planet. Then he's on his own. He's no longer being influenced by those outer planets. And now in Gemini, he's really deeply contemplating what he has undergone. And this is a mental Mars. When Mars enters Gemini on August 20th, and really steps into the choices, the options. What is best for me now? Mars will voyage to 25 degrees of Gemini and station retrograde on October 30th, then journey back to 8 degrees of Gemini until January 8th, 2023. On January 8th, he will station direct at 8 degrees of Gemini and then move ahead. And it feels like this particular Mars retrograde in Gemini is really digging into more of the choices and potentials that perhaps we didn't see at first or we didn't consider could be real. And I'm feeling like this is where Mars is really going to be understanding more of what he is choosing, how he's directing his energy, the stories and the ideas that he's giving life to, that he's motivated to create or he's motivated to even rewrite during that retrograde phase. In fact, Mars and Gemini is an interesting combination because of how Mars is wanting to take action. He wants to move ahead. He has courage. He's determined. He wants to accomplish something. And Gemini is an air sign. It's connected with duality and with two roads, taking two separate paths. And that could be a very big theme that you're contemplating, especially the second half of 2022 into early 2023. It's looking at what is the best choice, the best path, what is the new story or the true adventure that I want to enact, that I want to participate in. But I feel like this Mars in Gemini, because he wants to move fast, he could almost trip over his own feet. And the retrograde is going to slow that down. The retrograde energy is going to ask us to be much more intentional with what we're choosing. And I'm seeing this as not only two paths, which would be the Gemini energy of duality, but it also feels like the difference between the comfort zone path and a new path or a higher path, because I'm seeing the road split, but it splits with a higher path and a lower path. Now, we know energetically that there is no right or wrong. There's only choosing what's best for you, what resonates, what calls to you. But I feel like this Mars in Gemini is slowing down to really consider what path he's taking after the significant transformations he's experienced from the outer planets. Because it's almost like he's really understanding that he's new, he's different, something has shifted, something has changed. Perhaps it's even difficult to put your finger on it. But this is where we are working with our own human consciousness to elevate it, meaning there's things you could have just assumed about your life or expected, or things that you thought you would just keep doing or it would play out a certain way. And I feel like this Gemini energy opens up these possibilities and choices that we didn't see before. Almost like standing in a hallway, looking down the hallway, and all of a sudden there's all these new doors. And it's like, well, which door is right for me? What's behind this door? What's behind that door? So one of the best things to do with this Mars in Gemini energy is to remain curious, to stay open, to look at what feels that it's in resonance with you, even if you don't have all the information just yet. Because Mars is in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is the messenger, the communicator, the informant. And it feels like this Mars is collecting new information, gathering more data, gathering more insights, and understanding what could be possible or what he could direct his energy towards. But I feel like there's this potential to get lost in the mind, almost like going back and forth between pros and cons, this and that. And it could all be too much. It could even be like there's just too much in front of you, or there could be a sense of, I don't know what to choose. I'm overwhelmed by the options, or even a sense of analysis paralysis, where it's like thinking, and then not taking action, not knowing where to choose or what the next step should be. So this is going to be something that we'll have to intentionally manage and not get stuck in our minds, not get lost in our heads, and remind ourselves to come into the body. So this would be a good time when Mars is in Gemini to move your body intentionally and ensure that whatever is spinning in your head, whether those are thoughts, ideas, perhaps anxiety or worries, choices, decision making, all of that, it could feel like you just need to go for a walk. You just need to go for a run. You just need to breathe through it and do some intentional yoga. Keep in mind that Gemini, being an air sign, is about the breath. So the more that we can have some deep, slow breathing exercises that will also ground you into your body and help open up the energy of the mind, because this is going to be an interesting dance between where our minds are going, what our brains are processing, and then bringing it into the body so that the body actually supports this process. The body grounds you, it brings you into the present moment. And in fact, one thing you can always do is simply put your hand on your heart and listen to it, even if it's just for 30 seconds. And that will bring you back into your body. That will shift your focus from whatever is spinning in the head, bring you back into the present moment, because that's where our body lives, especially the heart and the active functions of the body, is that they're very much in this present moment, and it's connecting to that frequency that can help us feel more grounded and clear in what is best. And one thing to keep in mind too about this Gemini energy is that we often think of Gemini as how we speak, how we think. You know, Gemini is a very active talker. The lower expressions of Gemini can be very distracted, inconsistent, flaky. Gemini can be a gossip. Gemini can be two-faced or be a nosy neighbor. And what we have to look for is for all the ways that this Gemini energy can come up and run through us. Another way that we can consciously work with Gemini energy is to listen, because that's what a conversation is, right? Where even if you're having that exchange between another person or your own internal dialogue, it requires listening at some point. And I feel like this Mars retrograde in Gemini is where we're going to need to slow down and listen. Listen to ourselves, listen to our internal messages, listen to whatever stories or narratives we've been circulating in, and really listen to them, and then determine, is this still true for me? Is this still in alignment with where I want my life to go, with my priorities? Is this still something I want to give energy to? Because part of what we're going to practice is to tune out the stimuli, to not be overwhelmed by it, to not take it all in, and give ourselves silence. And how rare is that in this day and age, is to have complete silence, to simply listen to the messages arising in you that you might not hear because of that endless chatter of the mind or all the talk outside of you. In fact, one way to work with this Mars in Gemini retrograde would be to give yourself dedicated silent time, or to take yourself off of people's calendar, to not be too readily available in some ways, so that you can listen to what you need to hear. Because you're going to have messages coming through, and the Mars energy will sense it physically. The Mars energy will connect to it, but it's also something, as I said, we'll have to move the energy from the mind into the body and then really hear the body's messages. So there's going to be an interesting dance between the mind and our body consciousness, and that's going to give us some truer understandings of what we need. Now, you can also relate this to the power of the gut, meaning how we have this primal programming and this ability to trust ourselves and trust something at a very gut level, and that there's a lot of power in our bodies that we don't always tap into, especially if we're always in our heads. So I feel like this energy is going to help connect us to the power of our gut, meaning what you're sensing and feeling right away, what messages are coming through, what's speaking to you, and then trusting where and how your body wants to move. So this is going to be a very interesting Mars retrograde where we're going to become more conscious of what we're choosing, more aware of what we're doing in our day, more conscious and mindful of our words, the power of communications, and not only how it's effective, but also how it's ineffective, because that Mars in Gemini can say a lot. That can be triggering words, big words. It's the energy of where Mars gets all wound up and starts spouting off. And that's how he demonstrates his aggression, or that's how he asserts himself. So this can be inflammatory words. This can be the energy of verbal combat, and how we enter into disagreements or fights because of what was said. And then going into the bigger picture of it all, because we're experiencing a Mars return as well as a Pluto return at the very same time in the USA's chart, this can certainly be the words that start something much bigger, or that further engage opponents or enemies, quote unquote, that further engage people in disagreements, in war, in things that ultimately will need to be discussed later on. You could look at this as, well, sometimes the best manifestation of Mars in Gemini can help with finding a peace treaty or with solving something. But this energy doesn't suggest that. Actually, this energy is more about what's getting started, what's being brewed up, and then how it is misunderstood, misrepresented. Things get omitted or left out. It brings up what's being reported, because Gemini is about what's being said. And so that can certainly be the news, that can be the stories that are printed, and that can ramp up certain situations even more. So we're going to have a war of the words, so to speak. There's going to be more that comes up that can show us where different sides stand, or what their true message may be, or perhaps what their perceived message may be. Because part of this Mars in Gemini energy is that it will be squaring Neptune in Pisces, which means the truth will be hidden. We won't see the full story. There will be things that are covered up. There's things that we just won't hear it correctly. It'll be tampered with. The messages will shift and change. These are the mutable signs. So things will be adapted to what the people want to hear, or what we should hear. I mean, this certainly brings up this current theme of disinformation, and what does that even mean in this day and age? How do you really verify facts? Where's the true evidence? So we're entering a phase here where messages are going to be convoluted. There isn't going to be a lot of perhaps clarity around where people stand or what's really going on. And there could be a sense too of wanting the truth, wanting to understand something, but not getting clear answers or clear information. Now, Mars in Gemini will be making trines to Saturn in Aquarius, and that can help with decision making. That can help with clarity and priorities and commitments, because Mars in Gemini trining Saturn in Aquarius provides something that you can work with. So even though there will be a lot that's misunderstood and inaccurately represented, when Mars connects to that Saturn in Aquarius energy, there could be something that is revealed that's very clear, firm, and it shows you what is perhaps more reliable, as well as decisions or choices from Saturn figures, from those who are in an authority position, who are managing something, those who are the decision makers. So this Mars at least will be supported through trines to Saturn in Aquarius, but there will be that ongoing influence from Neptune and Pisces that will dissolve, remove, hide, cover up, and basically create a big cloud of confusion, which can really affect the masses even more and really make things even more uncertain. Now, applying this energy to your personal chart can be very helpful because Mars is retrograde in Gemini between 25 degrees back to 8 degrees of Gemini. So this is the territory in your chart that the Mars retrograde is occurring in. These are the houses and planets, if you have planets in Gemini, that Mars is reworking. And this is where there will be changes. There will be shifts. There will be things that you won't have an answer to until perhaps later on in the first half of 2023. This is when you could have things going back and forth in your mind and you have an uncertainty. What do I choose? What do I want to change? What is best here? So this Mars retrograde between 25 degrees of Gemini back to 8 degrees of Gemini is important because it's where you're going to have a focus of energy through Mars, but you could also feel frustrated. You could feel, again, a lack of clarity. What do I do with this? What is happening here? What am I supposed to choose? Again, this is where you can spin in your own mind. Now, part of the programming that we have held is that we want to do the right thing and we want to avoid further harm, damage, pain, whatever it might be. And I feel like what this Mars in Gemini is learning is that any choice you make is going to take you on a certain path, and that path is going to give you new information, new lessons, new things to work with, new potentials for growth. So we could step out of the programming that there's a right choice or a wrong choice. We could step out of the pressure we put on ourselves that we have to get it right, that there's only one right thing to do. We can open up to the fact that there are multiple paths to take, and each one will bring you something valuable. Each path will offer you something to work with. But what you want to start with is trusting your own energy, trusting what feels best for you. And I'm saying the word feel because the body is this beautiful energy vessel that feels a lot. And you'll sense it when you feel ready to go do something, or ready to work out, or ready to get out of bed in the morning, or ready to go into bed at night. It's like your body is designed to feel a lot and to be tapped into the environment. And so when we dial ourselves into that part of our body consciousness, then you can trust it. Then you can understand what you're naturally drawn to or what you're naturally wanting to avoid or step away from. So it feels like this Mars in Gemini retrograde is going to give you more information to work with and to hopefully get you out of any type of stuck place or a sense of overwhelm around choices. There's also the potential here to have decision-making fatigue, where you're tired of thinking through the options. You're tired of figuring out the plan or finding all the facts and all the details. You could just have that sense of, I'm tired of having to be in this decision-making process. And that's where you then would go to your body. You'd go into what is your body wanting? What is your body needing? And that's going to tap you into more of your own answers, more of your own energy, and more of your own clarity, even while there could be a lot going on that is confusing and uncertain. Now, it's interesting to note that over the past few years, each of the personal planets has had a retrograde in Gemini. So in this particular house or houses in your chart, the Gemini houses, we had a Venus retrograde in Gemini in 2020. Then we had Mercury retrograde in Gemini in 2021. And now we have Mars retrograde in Gemini in 2022 into 23. So these Gemini areas of your chart have been reworked, and I feel like they're meant to go deeper. We're meant to be making new choices, better choices for ourselves, and not just remaining on autopilot, not just doing or choosing what we've always done. Because again, that Gemini energy, it wants to move fast and it can just choose something or say, yes, I'm going to go there. Yes, I'm going to be there. And then later on have that realization of, oh, why did I do that? Why did I choose that? It's almost like the mind and the mouth can speak too fast and just say too much and not be conscious of what is being spoken, of what is being processed, of what's being thought through. So I feel like we've had a very intentional, ongoing experience here from the universe to become more mindful, to become more aware of the power of our words, what we're choosing, how we're spending our days, the types of things that we're directing energy towards, as well as what we assumed we needed to do in our lives or in our daily schedules. So this could be a time period where you're changing up your daily habits, your daily commitments. You're looking at what is in front of you. Does it really matter? Do you really care about it? Is it really essential? And you could have things clearing out, and that could even be on your desk. That could be on your calendar. That could be anything, even say in your neighborhood, in your community, in your family, because Gemini is the energy of our immediate environment. And there's things there that you could be switching up. You could be changing things around to make space and room for more that is in alignment with what you want now, instead of just going about the same old, and not even realizing it's not what you want. So we can always work with these energies from a positive, beneficial place. We can look at them from, what am I meant to see or understand here? What am I meant to dig into so that I can really honor my own energy and my own needs without being on autopilot or without overriding them either. So again, Mars is in Gemini from August 20th until March 25th, 2023. And this is where he is further integrating what he experienced through those conjunctions to the outer planets, as well as going into more deep thought. We'll call it purposeful thought, not just flaky or frivolous thoughts, but more purposeful thought around what matters to this Mars now. What is the best and highest expression of your energy? And how are you trusting that, as well as applying it in your life? With Mars in Gemini, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and this is going to make the Mercury retrogrades even bigger, as that influence will also slow down this Mars expression. So there's going to be energies here that further emphasize what we're saying, the messages we're communicating, what we're taking in. You might require more time to digest or process. You might just need more time to yourself. And that goes back to this whole listening experience that we can gift ourselves with more time and space before responding or replying, allowing ourselves to move through something so that we tap into it at a deeper level and we can look at what is really happening within us that maybe we wouldn't normally connect with. And it could also be a gracious gift to allow others more time and space as well, where if someone doesn't get back to you right away, or they have a lot going on or a lot in front of them, to understand how this energy works with all of us. And even if they're not conscious of it, or we're not conscious of it at times, there could be more here where we give each other space and allow ourselves to think things through, but in a way that doesn't create more anxiety or spinning. So we do need an outlet for the mental energy. And because Gemini is a communicator, this could be where you're needing to talk to yourself. You're riding in the car and you just start talking to yourself. You go for a walk, you're doing things around the house, where it could feel good to speak your truth, to really strengthen that throat chakra, to allow words to move through you. Also to write anything out, to get it out of your head. And that's going to help alleviate any frustration, impatience, anger, anything that's coming up, make sure that you're consciously moving it through and allowing it to be something that you're working with mindfully from that place of, wow, my head is really spinning. There's a lot going on. I have so many thoughts, so many things happening. I'm just going to take a minute here, write out some bullet point ideas, some bullet point thoughts, write it out in my journal, in my diary, or just even talk to myself or talk to a good friend and understand how that's going to help alleviate any of that internal mental pressure, as well as potentially giving you more clarity around what is best next, what you want to choose, what matters, what's essential, and then also what's not. Because again, that Gemini energy, it's very much in the present moment, as in what's happening today, what's happening this week, and it can lose sight of the bigger picture. It can be detached from the bigger priorities of life or what's it all about. The opposite of Gemini is Sagittarius. Sagittarius reveals to us more of what we believe, more of what we want, and how to have experiences, especially experiences out in the world, that allow us to get out of our own heads. And I feel like when we look at the energy of Sagittarius, it can help balance this Gemini immediacy, where the Sagittarius energy is going to say, is this going to matter in 1 year? Or does this really connect to your truth? Or even listen to yourself, because you're speaking your own belief systems here, even if it's unconscious. So the opposite sign of Sagittarius wants to open us up and to see things from a broader perspective, to understand more and connect to that bigger picture. So that could be helpful. That could be one way to work with this energy more intentionally, is that if you are feeling like you're really busy, there's a lot going on, there's a lot in front of you, then you want to access the wisdom of Sagittarius and ask yourself, is this really important? Is this really going to matter in the bigger picture of my life? Yes, I have to take care of things today. Yes, I have to pick up the kids from school and take care of the errands. All of these are Gemini-ruled things that we do on a daily basis. But Sagittarius will give you that higher vantage point, that it's all just passing through us anyways. It's all just moving through. And so what are you going to choose that may serve you for the long term? What helps you rise above the here and now and connect with the bigger overarching truths of your life and reinforces what is best for you, what's for your best and highest good? And that can be a useful question to just keep front of mind as well, is to ask yourself, what's really for my best and highest good at this time? What connects to more of my bigger life purpose, my life adventure? And am I choosing that? Am I honoring that today or in this moment? And that can also help you move through what this Mars in Gemini experience will activate and bring up. So Mars has been on quite a journey in 2022. This energy has been reprogramming us, also digging into parts of ourselves that maybe we didn't notice before, including the ego, including parts of ourselves that we've just accepted as this is who I am, this is my self-identification. You could feel that throughout this year, there are parts of yourself that have been deeply shifted, perhaps challenged and really uncomfortable, parts of your self-identity falling away, no longer needed, no longer in resonance. You could also feel that there's new parts of yourself coming out and emerging that you're developing strength in and developing confidence to own these parts of yourself. So Mars is on a big journey, and this is where we're elevating our own consciousness around these energies in ourselves, as well as on the planet at large. And the universe is now going to open up new choices and possibilities that were not available to us before. So that's another way to look at this Mars in Gemini energy, because there could be things that come up that are new to you, that you didn't think would ever be on the table, or something that you could decide for yourself in this lifetime. So also keep that as a driving intention, that here you are looking to create and experience your best life. So what serves you now? What's in resonance with you now after these deep shifts and changes throughout 2022? And we will keep talking about this Mars journey in my weekly Wednesday podcast episodes, where we look at the energies every week. We'll keep discussing it, especially through the more specific transiting aspects that Mars is experiencing. Oh, one more thing I wanted to note is that I also think it's going to be a very important shift once Mars makes an exact conjunction to Uranus in Taurus and is conjunct the North Node in Taurus. That happens at 18 degrees of Taurus in early August. So it's actually about July 31st until, let's call it August 4th, when Mars will be conjunct Uranus and the North Node in Taurus. That's a really big energy. That is explosive. That is something being lit up. That is an amplification even of anything that's ready to burst out of us. It could be an explosion of anger. It could be a lot that's being released or moved through. This can certainly pertain to earth changes, since Taurus is an earth sign. This is a very dynamic and potentially chaotic energy. There can be turmoil that is stirred up. This can be quite big, and we could feel it. We could certainly be feeling it in our body consciousness, as well as wanting some kind of shift, change, release. And so this is an energy of breaking through, breaking out, something coming up that you can't deny. Potentially a very dynamic message from the universe because of how Uranus is connected to cosmic intelligence, and there could be something that changes your life, that changes your life path or your life trajectory, because it's working with that North Node in Taurus. All three conjunct together. This is a big deal. This is a significant change in energies on the planet, a change in timelines, a shift in consciousness, and something is being awakened. Something is being awakened within us that is powerful, that's important, and could also be removing more karma. So I feel like this Mars goes across Uranus and the North Node and shifts into a whole new world. Moves into a new experience of the planet, shifts into something that is a very significant change. And then once he's on the other side of the North Node, there has been a clearing. Energies have been removed. And again, this could be like that electrical pulse of understanding, or a lightning strike of wisdom, or a very deep clarity around what you no longer want, because I feel like there could be this big removal of something changing. Whatever has been suppressed or held back, it won't be able to stay in that place with this energy in early August. It comes out, it's seen, it's removed, and then something changes in a big way. So I feel like this Mars crossing over the North Node is where he enters new territory. He enters new land, new consciousness, new energy paradigms. And that's going to be quite interesting, because then he's going to be on the other side of the nodes, exploring more in his own consciousness and understanding more of what is best for him next. So as you can see, this is very big energy that Mars is experiencing. Mars is on a big journey, and Mars is expanding himself, expanding what he's capable of, but also knowing himself even more. So we will keep talking about this in the Wednesday podcast, as I mentioned, but I just wanted to highlight that because that is a big deal when Mars conjuncts Uranus and crosses over the North Node and enters new territory. So as always in this world of astrology, it's never boring. There's always something more to look at and understand. There's always more of ourselves to explore and dig into. I hope this has given you some good insights about what you may be experiencing through Mars in your own life. Perhaps it connects to your own body, any physical shifts or changes you've been feeling, any particular energy shifts you've been sensing or moving through, as well as anything that has been changing for you around your sense of self, what you want, how you assert yourself, and all those things that I mentioned earlier in the show. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I'll be back with another podcast episode for you every Wednesday and Monday. You can find out more about me over at mollymccord.online, and do please connect with me over on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. On YouTube, I have a variety of playlists for you to check out that can help you understand even more about your astrology chart and what you're learning about astrology in this lifetime. I appreciate your energy, time, and presence. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to connecting with you again very soon.